Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're also paying our humble obeisances to Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam. And following the instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Yadi seva vanchitasya ma, yasya kripaya vayam labema, sarvam prapnuma prayojanam, damni Shri Bhagavat Pade, Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha, yadina janimahe tutam, Ashtadashasu sahasreshu shlokanam bhagavat oktishu radharanim navindam hatada nishphalam bhagavat adhyayanam radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including the residence in Lord's holy Dham, and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all our efforts are in vain. So, we are continuing our reading of Bhagavatam from Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order. Chapter 28, Purañjana becomes a woman in the next life. Text 31. Ekaikasya bhavatesham rajan arbudam bhuksyate yadvam sadarar mahimanvantaram param. My dear King Prachinabarhisat, the sons of Malayadvaja gave birth to many thousands and thousands of sons, and all of these have been protecting the entire world up to the end of one Manu's lifespan and even afterward. Purport. There are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. A Manvantar, the lifespan of one Manu, is given as 71 multiplied by 4,320,000 years. After one such Manu passes on, another Manu begins his lifespan. In this way, the life cycle of the universe is going on. As one Manu follows another, the cult of Krishna consciousness is being imparted as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.1. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Imam Vivas Vate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivashvan Man Abhe Praha Manor Ikshva Kave Bravit. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivashvan, and Vivashvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Vishwasan, the sun god, imparted Bhagavad Gita to one Manu, and this Manu imparted it to his son, who imparted it yet to another Manu. In this way, the propagation of Krishna consciousness is never stopped. No one should think that this Krishna consciousness movement is a new movement. As confirmed by Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it is a very, very old movement, for it has been passing down from one Manu to another. Among Vaishnavas, there may be some difference of opinion due to everyone's personal identity, but despite all personal differences, the cult of Krishna consciousness must go on. We can see that under the instructions of Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj began preaching the Krishna consciousness movement in an organized way within the past 100 years. The disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj are all God brothers, and although there are some differences of opinion, and although we are not acting conjointly, every one of us is spreading this Krishna consciousness movement according to his own capacity, and producing many disciples to spread it all over the world. As far as we are concerned, we have already started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and many thousands of Europeans and Americans have joined this movement. Indeed, it is spreading like wildfire. The cult of Krishna consciousness, based on the 9 principles of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, will never be stopped. It will go on without distinction of caste, creed, color, or country. No one can check it. The word bokshate is very important in this verse. Just as a king gives protection to his citizens, these devotees following the principles of devotional service will give protection to all people of the world. The people of the world are very much harassed by so-called religious principled swamis, yogis, karmis, and jnanis, but none of these can show the right way to become elevated to the spiritual platform. There are primarily 4 parties spreading devotional service all over the universe. These are the Ramanuja Sampradaya, Madhava Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, and Nimbarka Sampradaya. The Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya in particular comes from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these devotees are spreading this Krishna consciousness movement very widely and giving protection to innocent people who are being so much embarrassed by pseudo-avatars, swamis, yogis, and others. Text 32. Agastya pragduhitaram upaye me drita vratam yasyam dridhachuto jata idmava atmajo muni. The great sage named Agastya married the firstborn daughter of Malayadvaja, the avowed devotee of Lord Krishna. From her one son was born whose name was Dridhachuta, and from him another son was born whose name was Idmavaha. Purport. The name Agastya Muni is very significant. Agastya Muni represents the mind. The word Agastya indicates that the senses do not act independently. The word Muni means mind. The mind is the center of all the senses, and thus the senses cannot work independent of the mind. When the mind takes to the cult of bhakti, it engages in devotional service. The cult of bhakti, or Bhakti Lata, is the first daughter of Malayadvaja, and as previously described, her eyes are always upon Krishna, Ashite Kshanam. Ashite Kshanam. Ashite Kshanam. One cannot render bhakti to any demigod. Bhakti can be rendered only to Vishnu, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Thinking about the absolute truth to be without form, the Mayavadis say that the word bhakti can apply to any form of worship. If this were the case, a devotee could imagine any demigod or any godly form and worship it. This, however, is not the real fact. The real fact is that bhakti can be applied only to the Lord and his applications. Therefore, Bhakti Lata is Dridhavrat, the great vow. For when the mind is completely engaged in devotional service, the mind does not fall down. If one tries to advance by other means, by karma yoga or jnana yoga, one will fall down, but if one is fixed in bhakti, he never falls down. Thus, from Bhakti Lata, the son of Dridhachuta is born, and from Dridhachuta, the next son, Idmavaha, is born. The word Idmavaha refers to one who carries wood for burning in sacrifice when approaching a spiritual master. The point is that Bhakti Lata, the cult of devotion, fixes one on his spiritual position. One so fixed never comes down, and he begets children who are strict followers of the Shastra conjunctions. As said in the Vedas, Tad Vijnanartam sa guram eva bigachet samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. In the line of devotional service, those who are initiated are strict followers of the Vedic scriptural injunctions. Text 33. Vibhajyatanayebhyaha kshmam rajarshir malayadvaja ariradhayishu krishnam sajagama kulachalam. After this, the great saintly king Malayadvaja divided his entire kingdom kingdom among his sons. Then, in order to worship Lord Krishna with full attention, he went to a solitary place known as Kulachala. Purport. Malayadvaja, the great king, was certainly a Mahabhagavat, topmost devotee. By executing devotional service, he begot many sons and disciples for propagating the Bhakti cult, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Actually, the entire world should be divided among such disciples. Everyone should be engaged in preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness. In other words, when disciples are grown up and are able to preach, the spiritual master should retire and sit down in a solitary place to write and execute Nirjan Bhajan. This means sitting silently in a solitary place and executing devotional service. This Nirjan Bhajan, which is the silent worship of the Supreme Lord, is not possible for a neophyte devotee. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur never advised a neophyte devotee to go to a solitary place to engage in devotional service. Indeed, he has written a song in this connection, Dushtamana Tumi Kishera Vaishnava, Pratishtharatare Nirjanera Gare, Tava Harinama Kevala Kaitava. My dear mind, what kind of devotee are you? Simply for cheap adoration, you sit in a solitary place and pretend to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but this is all cheating. Thus, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur advocated that every devotee, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, preach the Bhakti cult, Krishna consciousness, all over the world. Only when one is mature can he sit in a solitary place and retire from preaching all over the world. Following this example, the devotees of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness now render service as preachers in various parts of the world. Now they can allow the spiritual master to retire from active preaching work. In the last stage of the spiritual master's life, the devotees of the spiritual master should take preaching activities into their own hands. In this way, the spiritual master can sit down in a solitary place and render Nirjan Bhajan. Text 34. Hitbhagrihan sutan bhogan vaidharbi madirikshana anbhadhavata pandyesham jotsneva rajanikaram. Just as the moonshine follows the moon at night, immediately after King Malayadvaja departed for Kulachala, his devoted wife, whose eyes were very enchanting, followed him, giving up all homely happiness, despite family and children. Purport. Just as in the Vanaprastha stage, the wife follows the husband, similarly, when the spiritual master retires for Nirjan Bhajan, some of his advanced devotees follow him and engage in his personal service. In other words, those who are very fond of family life should come forward in the service of the spiritual master and abandon so-called happiness afforded by society, friendship, and love. A verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Gaurvastaka is significant in this regard. Yasya prashadhat bhagavat prashadha. A disciple should always remember that by serving the spiritual master, he can easily advance in Krishna consciousness. All the scriptures recommended that it is by pleasing the spiritual master and serving him directly that one can attain the highest perfectional stage of devotional service. The word Madirikshana is also significant in this verse. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained in his Sandarbha that the word Madira means intoxicating. If one's eyes become intoxicated upon seeing the deity, he may be called Madirikshana. Queen Vidarbhi's eyes were very enchanting, just as one's eyes are Madirikshana when engaged in seeing the temple deity. Unless one is an advanced devotee, he cannot fix his eyes on the deity in the temple. Texts 35 through 36. Tatra Chandra Vasanama Tamra Parni Vatodaka Tat Punya Salilar Nityam Ubhaya Tratmanomrajan Kandasti Bir Mula Falai Pushpa Parnais Trinodakai Varta manha sanhar gatra, karshanam tapa astita. In the province of Kulachala, there were rivers named Chandravasa, Tamraparni, and Vatodaka. King Malayadvaja used to go to those pious rivers regularly and take his bath there. Thus he purified himself externally and internally. He took his bath and ate bulbs, seeds, leaves, flowers, roots, fruits, and grasses, and drank water. In this way he underwent severe austerities. Eventually he became very skinny. Purport. We can definitely see that to advance in Krishna consciousness, one must control his bodily weight. If one becomes too fat, it is to be assumed that he is not advancing spiritually. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur severely criticized his fat disciples. The idea is that one who intends to advance in Krishna consciousness must not eat very much. Devotees used to go to forests, high hills, or mountains on pilgrimages, but such severe austerities are not possible in these days. One should instead eat only prasad and no more than required. According to the Vaishnav calendar, there are many fasts, such as Ekadasi and the appearance and disappearance days of God and his devotees. All of these are meant to decrease the fat within the body so that one will not sleep more than desired and will not become inactive and lazy. Overindulgence in food will cause a man to sleep more than required. This human form of life is meant for austerity, and austerity means controlling sex, food intake, etc. In this way, time can be saved for spiritual activity, and one can purify himself both externally and internally. Thus, both body and mind can be cleansed. Text 37. We'll continue from here next time. So this ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 37 on Friday. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Gurudev Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai. Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navarup Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan, Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.